The time is 7:47. I'll call this regular scheduled meeting of the mayor and council to order. We're a little late getting started tonight. I apologize. Today is September 9th, 2013. All members of the mayor and council are present. Mr. Sunny is not here for our invocation tonight, so we'll have a moment of silence. As you'll hear in a moment, this is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, so if we could have a moment of silence for all the children who have lost their lives to childhood cancer. Thank you. For tonight's announcements, the September 10th, 2013 Board of Appeals meeting has been canceled. On September 22nd, you can watch a rebroadcast of this meeting on Comcast Channel 25 at 6:30 p.m. September 23rd will be the next regular scheduled council meeting. We'll have a work session at 6:30 in the conference room and a meeting at 7:30 here in council chambers. September 24th, our Planning Commission will meet here at City Hall with a 7 p.m. work session and a 7:30 p.m. meeting. Now for the pledge to the flag, if I could have Ms. Jones come forward. Would you like to lead us in the pledge tonight? Yes. Did I? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if you don't want to go far, next under ceremonial matters, we have Proclamation 2013-19, recognition of 2013 Constitution Week. Whereas since 1956, the Sons and Daughters of the American Revolution organization have assured that Gwinnett County and its cities observe Constitution Week each year in order to encourage education about America's most important document and the historic events surrounding its framing. Whereas September 17, 2013 marks the 226th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention convened in Philadelphia in 1787. Whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize this magnificent document and the anniversary of its creation. Whereas this observance calls to mind the sacrifices of brave Americans who have fought to defend and protect the liberties which it grants. Whereas it is our duty to protect, preserve, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year designating September 17th through September 23rd as Constitution Week in the United States of America. Now therefore be it proclaimed by I, Kelly D. Couts, Mayor of the City of Snellville, Georgia, that September 17th through 23rd, 2013 shall be Constitution Week in the City of Snellville. I ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals that the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. So proclaimed this 9th day of September 2013. You want to come forward to receive the proclamation? Next is Proclamation 2013-20. Before I read the proclamation, in September of 2011, when I was a council member, I had put a similar resolution on the council agenda. I resigned that August to run for mayor, and Councilman Sabag picked up my sponsorship of that resolution. However, it was only for that 1 year, and so this proclamation will be for this year and every year forward. This is Proclamation 2013-20, Childhood Cancer Awareness Month and Amanda Riley Day in the city of Snellville. Whereas cancer is the leading cause of death by disease among U.S. children and is detected in nearly 15,000 of our country's young people each and every year. Whereas 1 in 5 of our nation's children loses his or her battle with cancer, a battle which impacts parents, grandparents, loved ones, friends, neighbors, and communities. Whereas all children deserve the chance to dream, discover, and realize their full potential. Whereas Amanda Riley was a kind, loving, and generous teenager who was a 3-sport varsity athlete at Brookwood High School. Whereas Amanda was diagnosed with childhood cancer at the age of 16, and after a courageous fight for 405 days, she went home to live with Jesus on April 9, 2010. Whereas during her lifetime, Amanda was a fighter, giving 100% to everything she did, and fighting cancer was no exception. Whereas Amanda's ever-present beaming smile and tenacious spirit left an impression on her family, friends, the Brookwood community, and the city of Snellville. Whereas the Amanda Riley Foundation, a Snellville nonprofit, was founded by Amanda's parents, Barbara and Steve Riley, and Amanda's honor to help bring a smile to kids battling cancer by making them and their families feel better and bringing a smile to their face, even if just for a few minutes. Whereas September has been set aside as National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month to increase awareness about the issue of childhood cancer, including the need for early detection, prompt treatment, new medications, continued research, and attention on the late-term effects of treatment on childhood cancer survivors. Whereas gold is the color representing childhood cancer, the Rileys, the Amanda Riley Foundation, its supporters, and myself, the Mayor of Snellville, are passionate about painting Snellville gold in Amanda's memory for those children and their families battling cancer, and in memory of every young person lost to childhood cancer, in hopes of brighter futures for our young people everywhere. Now therefore, I, Kelly D. Couts, Mayor of the City of Snellville, Georgia, do hereby proclaim September as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Snellville. Be it further proclaimed that from this day forward, in honor of her courage, selflessness, and inspiration to other children, September 12th shall be known as Amanda Riley Day in the City of Snellville. I commend the Amanda Riley Foundation and Barbara and Steve Riley for their dedication to fighting childhood cancer and bringing smiles to kids with cancer. I encourage all of Snellville citizens to join together in the Gold Out, encourage each citizen to help bring a smile to the face of a young person fighting childhood cancer. Proclaim this 9th day of September 2013. In a minute, I want to bring Ms. Riley forward, but before I do, I have to tell you that for the past couple of years, I've attended events with the Amanda Riley Foundation, and this truly is a great foundation, and Ms. Riley really is a community hero. I don't know how she continues to go through everything she goes through, helping these young children day after day. So we do thank you for everything you've done for our community. If she'd come forward, and then we have a special presentation. Do you want to say it? Do you want me to? This afternoon, I purchased let me back up. Ms. Riley has started a Gold Out here in the city of Snellville. And so through the Amanda Riley Foundation, they're selling t-shirts. They're $10 a shirt, and she puts different logos on them for different organizations. Brookwood High School on September 27th will be having a Gold Out at their football game, and they'll be selling t-shirts with Brookwood Broncos on it. Ms. Riley and the Amanda Riley Foundation will be doing a balloon release on the 27th during that football game. So when I found out what was happening, I planned on attending the football game, but I wanted to do something here in City Hall. So I purchased City of Snellville t-shirts for all of the staff here at City Hall, and you can see Ms. Riley delivered them this afternoon, and here's staff on our steps wearing our gold here proudly. I'd ask all of staff to wear these on September 12th in honor of the Amanda Riley Day that we've proclaimed, and we've also purchased a shirt for all of the council. Ms. Riley's been kind enough to actually throw in some information about her foundation and some gold ribbons in the bags as well. So I'd ask council if you are able to put it on tonight, that would be great, but if not, if you'd wear it September 12th in honor of Amanda Riley, and then to join us at the Brookwood football game on September 27th for a gold out. For the record, I purchased these with personal funds, taxpayer dollars were not spent on these shirts. That now brings us to our minutes. Do I have a motion for the amendments of August 12, 2013 and August 26, 2013?
Motion to approve with amendments that Attorney Powell will give for us.
As far as amendments go, I guess I was waiting on council giving instruction with regard to how they wanted to amend it. There were two things that came up in the work session that you didn't really get to me to ask the question about, and the reason it shows up, the reason minutes show up on your agenda is because the clerk is responsible for drafting those minutes, but it's the council's vote that actually decides the instruction that should be given with regard to amending and perfecting the record as it was done. So that authority lies with the legislative body to make that decision. You can't go back and change something that was accurately done, but you can't go back and do something that was inaccurately done as far as misunderstanding and approve it. And in this case, the subject matter is the URA appointments, and for that to become an issue of disagreement is an impossibility from an operational standpoint. Your URA does some of the most sensitive work in terms of financial responsibility in the city, and there's a process in that where you would have to get a certification that comes from our office as to the legitimacy of the appointments in order to do a bond issue or to do the grants that you've already approved those grants and they've gone to the state in terms of approval. But in order for that to occur, you have to have a body that can be identified as properly appointed. If that certification is not able to be given, then you're wasting your time and you've disenfranchised your URA. So I would recommend whatever you do it 6-0. Or you don't do anything at all, and so it would be to void, because it's my understanding, just on the record, and this is just communications post, is that there was a nomination made to the 2015 class. That was the mayor's nomination. There was no vacancy in the 2015 class, is my understanding of the record. There has become a vacancy on the 2015 class since that. And so I would think that if this passed 6-0, that you could nominate Ms. Forbes for that 2015 position, as long as you noted that it was Mr. Harrison's position that she was being nominated to, that happens subsequent to the vote. That would be one, and Ms. Forbes would be nominated to serve through 2015 in Mr. Harrison's place. Otherwise, my recommendation to you is that you consider the nomination to be void because of the misunderstanding between the parties, and that you start over again at your next meeting or whenever you choose to make those nominations, that you void that as a misunderstood action, both in terms of the nomination that was made because there was not a vacancy and because of the vote, because council members thought they were voting for a vacant position that was not the position of 2015. So it's one way or the other, but it should be handled very delicately from the council standpoint, and the nomination process should be precise so that you understand, and no controversy surrounding both DDA appointments and URA appointments, because as y'all know, we borrow millions of dollars based on those people's votes, and we have to be able to certify that to bond council. And without that, we can't function, and that group is no longer of any use to you.
So, Mr. Powell, they asked for an opinion regarding the minutes. What is your recommendation as far as the minutes are concerned tonight?
My recommendation would, it depends on what the council and mayor wants to do and the council wants to do.
I don't intend to make any nomination for any URA tonight, so what is your opinion?
Then my recommendation would be that the minutes be amended to reflect that the mayor made an error and nominated into a position that was not vacant at the time the nomination was made. The council voted to fill a separate position for which the mayor had not made a nomination. As a result of confusion and mistake, the action is void. That would be my recommendation.
Is that your motion, Councilman Emmanuel?
Yes. I'd like to make the motion that we approve the minutes with the amendment as read by Tony Powell.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 4 in favor. All those opposed? It's 2 opposed. The minutes stand approved with that amendment. We have no invited guests tonight. Mr. Sanders, do you have a city manager report for us?
I do. I have a short report surrounding the status of the LCI project. This is the project that has been planned and worked on for close to a decade now, and we are very close to breaking ground on this project. But just as a quick update, I have the proverbial good news and bad news. I'll give everybody the bad news first. The bad news is when the bids came in a few weeks ago, they were about $200,000, actually $200,844.03 over our projected budget estimate. That was not good news. The good news is, even with that increase from the low, if you add the low bid, we are still under the budget that the state and federal government is working with for the project. We are currently in a mandatory review. GDOT is reviewing, the construction engineer out of our district DOT office in Gainesville is reviewing the bids, and there's good news there also. They have only made one comment regarding the bids that we received, and it was easily explainable, and we have moved on, and we certainly expect approval from GDOT for this new budget item, for this new budget amount, which will go from construction will cost, rather than the $2,094,000 estimated, will go to $2,295,000. And we, as I said, that's within GDOT's working budget. We do expect approval in the next few days of that number to be able to continue towards construction. The issue then becomes the city share of that difference. We're responsible for 20% of that change, which is right at $40,000, a little over $40,000. We have very fortunately received back from escrow accounts from a right-of-way acquisition in the neighborhood of, right in the neighborhood of $200,000, 20% of which is city money, which 20% of 200 is $40,000, which can cover that higher bid that we were hoping we did not get. So Good news and bad news. The good news, I think, outweighs the bad. We have not exceeded the overall project budget from a DOT basis. We do have, or will have, the funds to cover our share of the increased cost, and hopefully within the next 2 weeks, DOT will give us the go-ahead, and I will be bringing back to the mayor and council a recommendation for award on the LCI project. That's my report. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Sanders? Thank you, Mr. Sanders. We have nothing on tonight's consent agenda. Under old business, our public hearing, we have second reading on ZOA 13-02, consideration action on a text amendment to amend the 2001 zoning ordinance of the city of Snellville to adopt policies for permitting special uses relating to collective residences. Councilman Kraus, you have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve ZOA 13-02 as an amendment to the 2001 zoning ordinance of the City of Snellville to adopt certain new definitions and policies for permitting special uses generally and special uses relating to collective residences in the form presented with the agenda subject to the following expressed conditions. 1. The currently state permitted collective residence known to the City of Snellville Department of Planning and Zoning as identified on Exhibit A to this motion presented to the city clerk shall be grandfathered under the existing provisions of the non-conforming use provisions of Article 5 of the zoning ordinances of the city, provided that if the type of care changes at the property grandfathered, requiring a change in the state permit, the property shall become subject to all the provisions of this amendment and shall be required to apply for a special use permit under the terms and provisions of this new ordinance. Number 2, if an event occurs as described in paragraph 1, the owner shall be given 90 days to secure a special use permit, or in the alternative, to discontinue the use.
Is that your complete motion? Yes, ma'am. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Manuel. Point of clarification, Councilman Kraus, are you striking the CCRC language that was discussed in the work session?
I'll refer that to the city attorney, please.
Mayor, before the meeting, I didn't know that that was an issue, the CRC and what the mayor described as the RHOP. But once I got a chance to look at the RHOP ordinance, it became really clear that these are not overlapping provisions. RHOP is section 9.22, and so it is a separate zoning, sort of a hybrid continuous care campus district. RHOPs are not regulated under the special use permit procedure of the collective residences. Under RHOP, there is a principal permitted use of continuing care retirement communities, CCRC. So it would not have to have a special use in RHOP. It would be like in a industrial zoning class where light industrial, you may have a special use for a certain heavy industrial facility, but in the heavy industrial, you have it as a principal permitted use because that's where you zone to it. That's exactly the case here. CCRCs have their own permitted use class under the RHOP ordinance. It will continue just like it is. If somebody came in and wanted to use that, they would certainly be allowed to. The CCRC and all the definitions that are in the motion that was just made have to do with when that is used inside of when that type of use is permitted inside of a residential community, and in that case, you do want all the restrictions that go with a special use permit procedure attaching to it. So it's just, I didn't really understand the mayor's question, I hadn't looked at it, but those are not, those are mutually exclusive governing provisions, and so I'd recommend following the procedure that's been the subject matter of the motion.
This is on for a public hearing, so I'll take comments either for or against the motion as stated. See none, I'll close the public hearing portion of this matter, and any further discussion by council. David, Councilman Amado did. Any further discussion? See none, I'll close the floor and call the question. All those in favor of the motion as previously stated signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor. All those opposed, 0 opposed. The ordinance stands approved. Brings us now to new business. Item